Good morning, everybody. We are back. It is the right side of campus. We're live on a Monday, January 29th, 2018. I'm your host, the Big Man on Campus, here with my co-host, Donnie Rightside. Donnie, a new week. It's Super Bowl week. Eagles, Patriots, teams are arriving. Teams doing their media obligations. Got walkthroughs of practices all week. We're getting you ready for the big game. A lot to do this week. We have college basketball in full force. Lot going on. How was your weekend, Donnie Rightside?
Fantastic weekend, man. Had a lot of fun. Jeff opened up college basketball season, put some money in our pocket again. But now's the time. Last week, Jeff, we decompressed. We had a lot of fun talking about the Super Bowl, the aftermath of the AFC, NFC title games. Now we start that march towards Sunday. 7 full days to get ready here, Jeff. Eagles, Patriots, Super Bowl. I'm excited, brother.
Yeah, amen. A lot to do, a lot to get excited for. Our Eagles are in the big game, and we'll break it all down. We got props all week. We'll get into each team. Um, got a little hypothetical for you later in the show, Donnie. We'll go over some updates at the Super Bowl and chat college basketball. But we'll start by welcoming everyone in. Hopefully, you had a great weekend and enjoyed your time. Most of you obviously had that off Saturday and Sunday. Hope you had a great weekend. Let us know what you did and what you had going on. Also, like the show. Very important to the growth of the shows here at SBR. Hitting the like button, doing something when you're in here. If you dislike it, that's fine. If you don't like it, generally, then dislike it. But hopefully, you like the show and you enjoy it. Share it with your friends. Tell people about it. And if you're on Twitter, please retweet it. Donnie, there's no better way to get it into people's hands than to retweet the show on Twitter. Let's get into some morning headlines here. But first, before we do that, want to welcome a couple people in here. Who do we got, Donnie, in the chat? We got Ryan Gosling taking a couple
Yes,
days
there
off
you
from
go.
his movie career. Very good. Nice to see you here, Ryan. Enjoyed the Notebook. Thanks. James Ross, Stephen Allah, Ayla. You got to give us and let us know it's Ayla or Allah. Arian Costa, Mr. Mrs. Burden, welcome in. Reggie, Brennan Clay, Chris Carter, the great Chris Carter joining us, Donnie, a Viking and Eagle legend. Nice to see you in here. Guan White, Evan Ragsdale, Johnny, Chris, Ray, all you guys, welcome you in. Styles 22, Jeff Slaughter. Donnie, let's get into the show. Let's get into our morning headlines here. And we start out with the Michigan State um, issues in East Lansing. Obviously, a lot came out Friday and Saturday and over the weekend. Michigan State had two games, not one, two games. And Tom Izzo was really peppered with questions involving his involvement in this stuff. And some pretty damning things came out, Donnie, in that E60 um, show. I mean, you see all the things that came out. Adrian Payne and Travis Walton and Keith Appling all involved with some sort of sexual assault. Izzo seemingly did nothing about it. He allowed Walton to continue to coach. I guess the big question is how long is Tom Izzo the coach at Michigan State, and how can they actually get past this? I mean, I don't see a significant way that Tom Izzo could continue to coach at Michigan State. If I'm just looking at this from an outside and looking at what I've already seen, you also look at the football program. I mean, you had one instance where four players, were involved, sexually assaulting a woman. She ends up dying. Basically because of her, mental problems because of it, her drug addictions, her just depression. What needs to happen here, Donnie, and what do you think will happen?
Yeah, no, there's a lot of, I mean, I guess you could say like the Penn State, the cult feature up there. You get a guy like Tom Izzo, you have a good football coach in D'Antonio, and you just say, hey, keep your best players. We'll try to, brush it under. We'll get them some help. But now when you see all the tea leaves and all the rocks getting flipped over, it's a wrap. It's a wrap at Michigan State. You got to clean house the entire athletic organization. Anywhere it's happened, men's athletics, clear out the football program, clear out the basketball program. It's come to that point. And you knew it, Jeff. You know when people are tone deaf and you know how they just don't get it. I brought it up on Twitter over the weekend there. If you remember, Jeff, when Joe Paterno, when it all went down, like the shit hit the fan at Penn State, the Attorney General's report came out indicting just about everybody in that football program. and they wanted to talk to Joe Paterno on like a Monday. And Paterno's like, look, I don't know what's going on with these kids, but we got Nebraska this weekend. All this stuff can wait. He was fired the next night within 24 hours when Penn State had to call an immediate Board of Trustees meeting and got him out of there. Now you have Tom Izzo, fast forward to yesterday. Even if you don't believe it, somebody should have been in your ear and said, hey, Tom, great win on the court after the game. He should have said, you know what? This win means absolutely nothing right now. Michigan State is hurting as a brand, as a franchise, as a university. A lot of people were done wrong here. I don't want to talk about this basketball game and what we won here today. Let's keep the focus on the survivors and let's treat them with respect. Nope. You know what Tom Izzo did? Let's recreate the interview, Jeff. Ask me a question like as soon as you get off the court, like, hey, Tom Izzo, blah, blah, blah. Ask me a question.
Tom, good win today. What'd you do to get the job done?
Yeah, you know what, Jeff? You know what I wanted to say? Way to start the healing process today. This win will start the healing process because I know if I was molested or abused, I would have been rooting for Michigan State today. If I went to Michigan State, if I was a gymnast at Michigan State, if I was on that campus or treated by a doctor at Michigan State, you know what? The best thing for me today was, boy, we beat Maryland on the road today. My God, it makes everything go away, Jeff.
No, he's an arrogant piece of shit. I obviously listen. If you've read into Tom Izzo after the fact, listen. Donnie, I was on a show the other a couple days ago, and someone called in and mentioned that they think that Tom Izzo deserves to with his legacy, he's not going anywhere. Legacy doesn't mean shit here. I don't know if people know, but Rick Pitino had a legacy. Joe Paterno had a legacy. In this culture of what we're in right now, the court of public opinion is not going to. It's not going to be acceptable. He's gone. His job is to. And Donnie, with all the stuff that's already went on, you would think these coaches would, I mean, just morality wise. I mean, if you hear something bad, you should report it. You should take care of it. It wasn't reported because these are high level athletes and they don't want their precious football program or basketball program to get to get knocked off. Basically, pain. I mean, these are bad things. These are things that if anyone does them, they're going to jail for a long time. This is a culture at Michigan State, whether it's Nassar, whether it's not reporting that kind of stuff, whether it's the gymnastics coach who, I mean, Donnie, is it like a foregone conclusion that if you're at Michigan State, you have no morality, you don't respond, you don't comment, you don't report anything? I mean, the gymnastics coach was the same way when she was there. She loved Nassar. She thought he was a gleaming guy. I mean, what is up with these coaches at Michigan State? And it's these delusional coach. I mean, this is going on everywhere, Donnie. I have a feeling. Jimbo Fisher was like this. Jimbo Fisher didn't report anything either.
This is what happens on big, like, because you know where it starts, Jeff? It doesn't even start with the basketball program. I saw the reports going all the way back to like Mateen Cleaves. And if you're a big, powerful head coach, Jeff, you don't get to be a big, powerful head coach without keeping your superstars on the court at all costs. And it does happen everywhere in a lot of spots. But it starts with a gymnastics program, and then they start flipping over the rocks. And then it gets into, man, look at all the people abused by this, lunatic who is the head of the gymnastics program and a world-renowned doctor. And then they say, well, Michigan State, let me see all your documents on sexual harassment and, what went down. Then they start looking at the football team, then the basketball team. It's like that domino effect that starts the chain. And, D'Antonio and Izzo are sitting back there like, this damn doctor started everything. They never would have looked at us if this wasn't the case. If you're going to pay the piper and keep your players on the court, loose lips sink ships. Like way back in World War I and World War II, it's going to eventually domino and hit you. And now when it comes out where you're saying, oh, now it's time to rally. Why wasn't it time to rally all the way back in like 98, 99 with Mateen Cleaves? What about Keith Appling? What about all that? It wasn't time to rally then until you got caught. You're trying to save your job. And how's it going to feel now when you go out on the recruiting trail and you're trying to get that 4 or 5-star athlete and the mom goes, well, what happened with these cases? The healing process already started. Man, don't focus on that. Did you see us beat Maryland on Sunday? That's what you should focus on.
Yeah, Tom Izzo's he's delusional, man. He really doesn't think that. I don't even know what to say about all this. It's just it's a shame. It's sad. It doesn't. I mean, this is the growing problem, Donnie, we have in the country. I mean, we have this going on everywhere, whether it's sports or entertainment. It's pervade everything really, and it's It's a shame. It really is because the only people that are victimized are the people that are the victims here. I mean, we shouldn't have to feel sorry for any of these people. Tom Izzo almost makes it like we should feel sorry for him that he has to answer these questions. And I got to tell you, the woman that did all this, Paula Levine, the reporter, very good work. I mean, she's been really a bulldog with all this. She's really went after it. She did great reporting. All those guys at ESPN. You know, for anyone that says ESPN's no good, and look, I'm not gonna try to sell you a bill of goods that it is. It's definitely fell behind the wayside, I think, a little bit for poor management. But you look at things like this, Donnie. Pretty great work by ESPN. Whoever was involved, you know, Bob Lee, Jeremy Schaap, those kind of guys. Those are the people at ESPN that should be recognized, as opposed to the people that don't do too well. This was
Like, you know
good
what's
work
funny with
by
that,
them.
Jeff? Just like the simplicity of it all. It's not even if you're Tom Izzo or D'Antonio or anybody. Like, it's so easy to make the determination. Like, they come to the athletic department. Hey, one of your players is in a real bad situation here. Like, could you imagine, Jeff, if they just said, you know what? Well, I'm going to sit, Keith Appling for a year as a freshman till we get to the bottom of this. Keith, will redshirt you here. Let's make sure we do the right thing. Your eligibility is going to be preserved. You will be cleared of everything if not, but always the presumption of, I need this guy on the court tonight. And working behind the scenes, these big power brokers that are the coaches are saying, what can we do to keep him on the court? How can we strain him? And everybody works under Tom Izzo because when you're the head honcho, you control the whole athletic department. How about if you had two counselors, Jeff, below you that are pegging, like, Tom, I'm going to the police. He'll probably railroad you and fire you and get you right off the staff and give it a yes man in here that says, let's prolong this as long as possible. Maybe everybody will forget about this. It goes all the way back to Oklahoma, Jeff, and we're looking at Stoops back there where the kid, Mixon, who roundhoused the girl, right or wrong, situation doesn't matter. That tape was there. He watched the tape, but he wasn't affected, Jeff, till when? The public got a hold of the tape. Oh my God, I didn't think everybody would react like this. Come on, man.
And then I'll do something when I see
And
this
then I'll say
have
like,
to.
yeah, exactly. We'll sit you down, or then we'll do something now that the video comes out. Such a double standard. But again, Jeff, they make $5, $6, $7, $8 million a year because they're keeping their best players on the court. But when the time comes, you got to pay the price too. You're out.
I mean, Donnie, we all have women in our lives, whether it's our wife, our mother. I have a sister. I mean, she's a beautiful woman that's done some amazing things in her life. I mean, I can't imagine if this was my. I mean, some of that stuff coming out. I mean, with the football players and stuff. I mean, it's just it's horrendous. It's terrible, and they should be sick in themselves for not doing anything about this. This has been like I said, a pervade problem for many years. Whether it's religion, entertainment, sports, this has to stop. There has to be some sort of someone needs to speak up with this. And we shouldn't need to have investigative reporters find it all out and they let us know about it. We move on here. Obviously, check out the ESPN 60 document. It's like an hour long. Check it out. Very good work by them. Vikings fans, Donnie, as we get up and ready for the big game. Uh, Listen, I think at some point it's getting a little ridiculous here with Viking fans. Um, I mean, listen, I get they're upset. They're not happy. They don't like Eagle fans. But you didn't see Eagle fans in hotels saying, we're not going to host you here. We're not going to let you stay in our places. You didn't see any of that here, Donnie. Why are Eagles fans being sabotaged here the way these Vikings fans are just acting salty? Get them some pretzels, maybe some water. I mean, they're not allowing Eagle fans to use Airbnb, Uber. They're setting up fake bars and saying if you come in, you get a free beer, but then they throw the beer at them. I mean, it's pretty pathetic. You didn't see Eagle fans not renting places to them. I mean, why isn't the national media reporting that?
Jeff, losing hurts, especially when you thought it was your destiny and your right to get to the Super Bowl because it was in your home building and there was no Carson Wentz for the Eagles and you thought you were the best team all along. Now, Jeff, coming into the playoffs, right? Who do we play the first round of the playoffs? Philadelphia Eagles.
Atlanta.
Atlanta, okay? Atlanta came up. Didn't see many fans there, but there were fans here in Atlanta, right? Came to the city, watched the game. No incidents, no nothing. Eagles won, went home. Didn't hear a peep about it, Jeff. You want to know why? They didn't take buses and planes. They didn't come here saying, we're going to go back to Minnesota. We're favoring this game. We're going to bully you guys around. It's our destiny. Did you see last week Stephon Diggs scored a touchdown to end the game? Yep, we're going to roll right over Philadelphia on our way. They didn't come to the steps of the Art Museum and do their chant, whatever, the Dirty Bird, all 40 or 50 of them. They didn't put a old school Jamal Anderson jersey on Rocky and say, we're here, we're taking over your city. There wasn't reports coming in saying, we're coming in, you've never seen a fan base travel like this, and we're going to take over the link. You came here, got your butt whipped on the field, felt salty, and went home. Why are they the only fan base that comes to Philadelphia and says that from afar? This is ridiculous. Now you think you're going to do this. We're going to get back at you, Jeff. Again, I get back to the point. Giants, Redskins. It's a harsh environment because it's the Northeast. You're going to get this at any stadium here. But why is one fan base so damn salty after leaving? And correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff. I didn't see any mass incarceration inside the stadium for fights breaking out all over with Viking fans. Come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's like anything. If you go to a pack of, like, you see a group of dogs on the street that you don't know of, they're like they're rabid dogs. You stay away from them because you don't want to get bit or hurt. It's very similar to that here. I mean, you don't go in to areas where Eagle fans are, or Eagle iconic things are. Deface them, put things on them. You expect nothing to happen, and then something does happen, and you get all mad about it. I mean, you're right. You don't see anyone else acting like this. And I don't know why this hasn't been publicized more. But Donnie, one thing I do want to publicize quickly before we move on. I don't know how this story hasn't gotten more pub nationally, but I think it's pretty unbelievable, actually. Mac Hollins, the Eagle wide receiver, is riding a bicycle 1,357 miles to Minneapolis. Is this is actually legitimate? Like, I thought
No,
this was a
that's not
joke when I
legitimate.
read it.
What did you
Um,
read? The Onion? There's no way
no,
that's a real report.
I mean,
Is he going to do it after
NBC
the
10,
Super Bowl for charity or something like that? There's no way he's
NBC
riding out
10,
there to the game.
NBC 10's reporting it.
There's just no way. They would never let him do that. He wouldn't even get there in time. What is it, the Tour de France? How
I'm saying,
exhausted would you be by the time you got there?
I'm reading. Hollins routinely rides his bike to work every day, but
Yes,
at
he
this
does.
time,
I
it's
know that.
different this time. He sets out on a 1,357-mile journey to Minneapolis. All jokes aside, the Eagles. Okay, there we go. I didn't read all jokes aside. I was
Yeah,
gonna,
yeah.
I was gonna say,
No,
there's no
he
way
wouldn't
this
even
is
get
true.
there by game time, man. Jesus.
I was gonna say, I'm like, how the hell is this allowed? How is he doing this? Then I failed to read that it said all jokes. Um, Fair enough. I was gonna say, I didn't think the NFL even would allow this. I mean, you have to have.
Nobody. What would he have? Good old. Remember Andy Reid used to have Butch as a security guy. What would the security guy be running alongside him the whole way? In the
So
black SUVs? No way.
I guess this is why it wasn't reported, because it's a joke. Uh, but hey, it was very hard. People tweeted it out, and I'm thinking, wow, this is amazing. How is this not going out to more people? But hey, if you're in the Philadelphia area, I have a feeling some of you probably believe this, like me.
Yeah, just see him on his
Um,
bike. Like he does. Not like Connor Barwin used to always ride like Sept and stuff. There's a lot of legends out there.
yeah, sure. Let's move on, Donnie. We'll wrap it up with the headlines. With you're gonna have to take this. I can't say I watched the Pro Bowl. I didn't watch the NHL All-Star game either. Anything to say about this?
Yeah, Jeff. Like if you keep it, simple on this, it was. Remember, growing up, and your mom or your grandmother, grandfather, like, hey, you could kill two birds with one stone. Well, thank God they matched up both of these games side by side on a Sunday afternoon before the Super Bowl weekend. So maybe you didn't have to watch both of them, or you didn't have to hear about both of them. And Jeff, I honestly didn't even know that the Pro Bowl was being played in the afternoon. Not that I care about the game at all.
Me either.
But can we just get? And again, we're going to start NFL Pro Bowl. And I remember Roger Goodell a couple years ago saying we're going to end it, but then the board of directors get together. Like, Roger, what are you kidding me? This brings in revenue for the league, and we could sell it, and people are going to watch it anyway, just because it's the NFL brand. Jeff, I'm watching that football game for, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and the one thing I noticed out there was when you made contact with a running back or a wide receiver, the play was blown dead. There was a play, I believe it was like a 3rd and 1 or a 3rd and 2, Jeff, where they dumped it out into the flat to have the fullback or running back. and he was running for the first down. And in a normal NFL game, you would make the hit right around the yard marker, and he'd fall forward, half yard, full yard, a yard and a half, and get the first down. Well, he runs into the guy on the side, gets the first down, but the contact was made like right before the sticks. So it was a fourth down instead of a first down. That was all I needed to know. And then I watch a couple more plays, Jeff. You hand the ball up the middle to a running back. He runs into the line. And when he makes contact like a yard or two down the field, the play is blown immediately dead. Who is watching this stuff? And why do we even care? What is that doing on TV, Jeff? It's not even an exhibition at this point. It's a joke.
I didn't know any of that, and I'm glad I didn't watch it. It seems like I missed out on some real hard-hitting football. I did see people betting on this as well. Shame on you. Listen, we're all sports bettors. We all, some of us find ways to bet on things that we shouldn't.
Yeah, Jeffy, it wasn't like it was the only game of the day on. You had good basketball on, NBA and NCAA.
But that's the thing. And that's where, to me, I think you can really, and I mean this just nicely, I think you can find out who may have a problem in this business and who doesn't. I mean, if you're betting yesterday on any of the All-Star games and you don't, like, I can understand maybe the NHL because there is some decent hockey going on, I would think. But
Nope,
there's no edge. There's no edge at all, though, to the Pro Bowl. There's none. There's zero edge. Why are you betting on it? Why are people betting on some of this stuff? I don't get it. There's no other reason, but they're addicted to it. I don't have to bet on games to feel happy or excited. I have nothing going on right now. I have no bets today, probably until basketball starts. But some people have to have action. They have to have action all overnight. They have to have action in the morning. They have to have tennis action when they wake up to check on. It's really kind of a sad thing. I really believe the NFL's rigged, which I'm not. I don't think the NFL's rigged.
Look, if the Eagles lose in the Super Bowl, I will join you and say the NFL's rigged. So that's how we'll decide that.
I mean, that's always, people always have that opinion. I'm not gonna. The NFL's not rigged. Are there things that go on that shouldn't? Maybe. I mean, but I don't. No, the whole league's not a rigged system that's planned out before the season. What do you have in the NHL All-Star game, Donnie?
Yeah, Jeff. This one, we're gonna have to reach back on this one. On the NHL All-Star game, like that should be sending the bailiff away to the NHL and say, don't ever bring this product out here again. I don't ever want to see it. There should be a class action lawsuit if you went to the game or even if you watched the game here, Jeff. Let's take a look at hockey. Before we get to hockey, let's take a look and we'll build the case a little bit here, Jeff. You look at the NBA, right? Forget about what they're doing now. The NBA All-Star game, how many guys are on each side when they jump the tip?
5.
5 on 5. Okay. Let's get to the Pro Bowl now. Ready? The Pro Bowl kicks off, the offense comes out, and the defense comes out. How many are on each side?
11.
Okay, 11 on 11. All right, good rules. Let's go to baseball, Jeff. All-Star game goes out. Randy Johnson's warming up on the mound, throwing a couple pitches. How many guys are in the field, Jeff, in baseball playing defense, including catcher and pitcher out?
What is it? 9?
9. Yep, we got 9 out there. All right, let's go to hockey, Jeff. We're about to drop the puck in the All-Star game. We're going to get ready to go. 3 on 3? Jeff, they played an All-Star game 3 on 3. That's like saying we're going to play the All-Star game in baseball, and you only get a shortstop and a center fielder out there with the pitcher. And we're not even going to use a catcher. The pitcher has to go get his baseball after he throws each and every pitch. In the NFL, no, we're not going to have 11 on 11. Let's do a 7 on 7 out there drill, and we'll have some fun with it. NBA, Jeff, we're not going to have the All-Star game. We're going to play the N1 mixtape tour and go 1-on-1 the entire game. No other players on the court. Explain to me, if you are the NHL, what are you doing out here? A 3 on... Why have the All-Star game? 3 on 3 they played, Jeff.
Yeah, I can't comment. It sounds pretty ridiculous, though. Yeah, no. Maybe Ian Cameron can explain that to us Wednesday when we speak to him. I got to get him on and see what he thinks that. Yeah, listen, 4 on 4, maybe 4 on 4, but 3 on 3, no, it sounds That sounds weird. What's with the 4 teams too?
Yeah,
That's
and
kind of
that's
weird
even
too.
worse. That's it. Like, and you had no idea what was going on. Like, I'm a casual hockey fan. I like the Flyers. When the Flyers do well, make a run, I'm all in. I'm having fun. It's my city. But I need to be able to turn on, like when I turn on an NBA All-Star game, Jeff, in the past, I don't even know what they're doing this year with their teams anyway. But let's just stick it to the past because the NBA might get ripped also as well. I want to have a semblance of the sport I watch. When I turn on the football game, I like to see 11 on 11, not 16 on 16, not 7 on 7. I want to have a semblance of a game. Now, you don't have to hit. You can have fun out there. It's a display for skills where nobody gets hurt. I get all that, which is why the NBA All-Star game, as corny as it is, right up to the 2 minutes, at least they're playing basketball, they're throwing alley-oops, and they're having fun. Don't give me 3-on-3. It was an embarrassment out there. And I'm glad, again, Jeff, 2 birds with 1 stone got killed yesterday. Awful performances out of the NFL and NHL.
I have a buddy who bets dart games in Great Britain. Listen, Eric, it's not about betting. Like, if you have an edge in it, then bet it. I don't have any issue with it. I bet on Irish soccer. I study it and have an edge on it. But I just don't know what the edges are on All-Star games. I don't see it. It's like spring training baseball. It's like all that stuff. I mean, there's no edge. Betting on Summer League. I mean, have I done it? Yeah, I've done it, but I don't do it anymore. I don't get involved with it anymore. MCAM, isn't this a chat room? It is a chat room, MCAM, but when you're continuously calling people out for stuff, I mean, give it up, man. I mean, we get it. You don't like the Eagles. You're okay. We're gonna get rid of you now. We gave you an
He's from
opportunity.
Minnesota. He's from Minnesota. He's very salty from Minnesota.
We gave him an opportunity. We're not gonna have him calling out listeners and stuff. We like the people in here. He's a random guy who we've never met until today. He comes in here, calling people losers and stuff. I gave him a chance. He didn't comply. See you later. I'm
And
agreeing
Jeff,
with you,
hold
BMFC.
on.
He knows nothing about darts. Guy just has a problem. Okay, wow. Well, yeah. Well, maybe you're gonna get him help. But yeah, that's a shame.
Jeff, and to top off the morning headlines for us before we move to college basketball in the weekend, Jeff, I know you love this story because it never ends. It never ends. And it ties right into the Pro Bowl, Jeff.
No,
Let's
don't
have a
do
moment.
it. No,
Let's
no.
have a moment to remember the 2017 National Football Champion UCF Knights. It never ends, Jeff. It's amazing. I don't know where, and they still show up. Like, there's no hey guys, it was fun for a day. Let's put it to rest and get on with our lives. Jeff, they were announced as the national champions of football and I'm glad it was at the Pro Bowl too. A mockery of football itself. Why not just throw in UCF as a side circus show there?
I mean, you look up delusional in the dictionary, and UCF football is right there. I mean, it's what is this crap? You're not the champion. Stop doing this. Alabama is the national champions. No, maybe they don't know that, but they are. Stop rewarding kids for your own failures. It's your failure that you didn't get into a better league. It's your failure that you didn't schedule correctly. I mean, listen, you want to be national champs? Go to a conference that will allow you to do that. Go play in the Big 12.
Yeah, or Jeff, it's such a big deal. Like, you're worried about your Power 5 or your non-Power 5 conference. Go the BYU route. You exit your conference and say, we're going to barnstorm USC, Alabama, Auburn, Michigan, Miami, Florida State. We're playing them all. We want to make a national championship run. You can always do that, Jeff, right?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, they didn't though. So I don't know why they're with this continued. I mean, when is this going to end? Like, if you're a full player at UCF, you're like that guy that goes to the bar and you pick up a girl and she goes, "What do you do?" "I'm a football player." "Oh, what do you play?" "I play for the national champion UCF Golden Knights." The girl goes, "Well, didn't Alabama win?" "Oh, yeah. Well, we think we should have won because we." I mean, it's fucking stupid. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You can't even justify why you're the champions. What are you the champions of? Honestly, what are you the champions of? What did you win? You won whatever bowl you were in. You were the champions of that bowl.
Like, do you think they actually feel left out, Jeff, UCF? Are they just
right.
if you would have told me, I got a scholarship to UCF, we ran the table in our, non-Power 5 conference, we played a big boy and beat them in the bowl game, and can't you just sit on that? Can't you get the ring and be like, look, man, we were the Peach Bowl champions, the Conference USA champions, or excuse me, the AAC champions. And is that enough? Like you can always tell your grandkids that. But you're gonna be dumb and say, my grandpa won a national title with UCF, and the kid in the classroom be like, UCF never won jack, man. Shut up, you liar. You're gonna get that.
I mean, could you imagine 50 years from now when those guys have
The
grandkids?
reunion, Jeff. Are they going to bring them back
Yeah.
for the reunion? Like the 10-year reunion of this 2027. Remember this team a decade ago that won the national championship? And the kids would be like, no, we didn't. We never won anything.
Yeah, remember back in 2017? It's 2040, and we're honoring this class at a random game in October. Here we go with the national champs, and everyone's looking in and say, I'm looking at the record books. I'm not seeing UCF here. I see Alabama won that year. What the hell are you guys trying to pervade us here? I came here because I thought we were the national champions. We weren't even the national champion. It's like I just don't get it. It's really delusional. Let's move on, Donnie. College basketball, good weekend in hoops. We move it down here. Thanks, Juanma. He moves it down. We start out with UK, Donnie, Kentucky. A big time win this weekend in Morgantown. I got to tell you, I think if UK gets going, and I think if that's very difficult, but if they play like they did in the second half, I think they can beat anybody because talent-wise, they have the talent. Every player is a McDonald's All-American. If they can continue to get Kevin Knox, the guy no one talks about, but I think he's the third best big in the country. You just got kind of snipers everywhere there. If they can continue to cohesively stay in this unit, play this way, I don't think there's a lot of people that are going to beat them. They just haven't been consistent this year. That's a huge win, though, going down to Morgantown. And, WVA continues to struggle to close games out. When you're up 15 at halftime with that press, this is what goes to show you, Donnie. When the press works, it's effective. When it doesn't work, it's not effective.
No, you're right about that. And you look, West Virginia can get you in the bad spots. If you turn it over, you don't have confident guard play, you're going to get beat by them. But if you can break the press, Jeff, as you said time and time again, even last week, look, it's easy. Once you break the press, Jeff, you're getting what? 3-on-2s, 2-on-1s. And if you're an athletic team that can finish at the rim, you're going to put West Virginia away. That was what UK was able to do. I like getting those glimpses of UK, Jeff, because they're not those standard household names that we saw for the last 5 to 6 years. But they're still getting top-end recruits there. And when they put it all together, the length and athleticism of Kentucky every single year is amazing. You just wait for them to put it all together. Great win by UK.
No, it was a huge win. Virginia, Donnie, with yet another unbelievable defensive performance. I mean, it's still, Donnie. I mean, we're going into basically February, and the Virginia Cavaliers have not allowed more than 67 points in any game. It's pretty unbelievable. I've said it before. I'll say it again. This is the greatest defensive team I've ever seen at this level. They're just that good. I mean, Begley got his, yes, but you're starting to see with Virginia that not only are they an elite defensive team, but they can score too. They have some options on the offensive end. Kyle Guy or Devin Hall, whoever. They have that now. They have that ability. And look, do they have bigs? No, Jack Salt wasn't great, but they did enough to keep the ball on the perimeter. I think we learned a lot, Donnie, about Duke's point guard this week, Trayvon Duval. Trayvon Duval's had an awful season. He's had a horrendous season. I thought he was awful on Saturday. I think he's one of the big catalysts as to why they lost that game. 37 minutes, you have 6 points. He didn't do enough. It just wasn't good enough. Made bad turnovers late in the game. Without Begley and Carter, Donnie, this team I don't think would be ranked, frankly. They're just not that good without those two. Virginia, unbelievable defense.
No, you're right about that. If we keep moving on there, Jeff, OU, as in obviously University of Oklahoma, drops 3 of 4, which is going to dip right in next to it, Jeff, to the Big 12 grinder, where it's like SEC in football when you play in the SEC West, Jeff. There are no days off when you're playing in the Big 12. Cause for alarm, some of those games on the road there for OU, but I look at this more as being battle-tested, getting those calluses built up on your hands, because heading down the stretch and going into tournament play, it's great when you have to survive in advance. No better way to do it, Jeff, than what the Big 12 provides each and every night. It seems like there's a monster tilt, and there's monster tilts tonight on Big Monday on ESPN. We'll take a look at those in just a few moments. But Jeff, just speak on OU. Are you a little nervous because they dropped 3 or 4? Or do you just say, you know what, I just look to see the way they compete and the way this conference is shaping up, where it's getting hammered every single night? You know, steel grinding on steel in the Big 12. Talk about that for a couple minutes here.
No, I'm pretty worried about Oklahoma, actually. I wonder about this team going forward. I mean, you have a guy in Trae Young who has been very good this year. No one will argue with that. He's been masterful, frankly. But, I mean, you just don't have very much other than him, and you continue to wait. I mean, like I said, we're getting into February here. At what point is someone going to step up and say, listen, Trae Young, you're not playing well. I'm going to try to play well here. I mean, defensively, they haven't been good enough. They give up 80 points in every game. They need consistent people to step up, and you have options here. You have Kadeem Latin, you have Manic, you have Christian James, you have Rashard Odom, you have Majewski. But I mean, you just don't consistently get them stepping up on a weekly basis. And here's what I think Avery Johnson showed on Saturday. If you put I mean, it's not very difficult. If you put a bigger player on Trae Young, I mean, he's going to have trouble. I mean, that's normal. I can't believe other teams haven't done this. You know, putting a guy that's just bigger than him. You know, putting like a 3 on him. You know, that kind of thing. I mean, he had a game, but not a great game. 17 points. That's not good for his stature. And going forward, they've had trouble winning on the road. I think they've lost 4 or 5 away from home. They need to learn to win away from home. They need to get more consistent play. And like you said, this is a tough schedule every night. You really don't have much room for error here. And for this group, time's running out, I think.
Yeah, no, interesting on that, Jeff. Let's talk a little bit about, the weekend as well, even into yesterday, some of the sites that we did see, some maybe big victories that you watch. It's nice to see Purdue on TV again, Jeff, continue. It's never, you're going to get the best shot from every team in the Big Ten. Each and every night you step up when you're Purdue. Close, hard-fought game in Bloomington. Not the easiest place to play, and especially when they get up for a game, the Battle of Indiana. But Purdue, again, working that inside-outside game, tight game late. They seem to pull it out again, almost getting the cover as well, depending on where you got that line, 8, 9, 9.5, which you could have got very early in the morning yesterday. Comes down to that free throw fest that we like to look at there. But another big win, Jeff, by Purdue yesterday.
Yeah, another big win. I mean, it seems like, when are they going to lose again? I mean, I don't know that I see it on their schedule. I mean, maybe Michigan State, but I mean, we've seen them. They've had trouble. And I want to comment quickly, Donnie, on Michigan State as a basketball program. I continue to say that they're overrated. I mean, I don't really get it. I mean, you look at every other team that's high level in this country, they have a feasible set SOS, they have a feasible RPI. Most of the wins by Michigan State this year have come against the RPI 101 or worst. There's just not a ton of quality wins here. And the one quality win you do have, I mean, it's North Carolina. And I mean, I don't know how good that group is. I mean, I just don't see it with Michigan State. I mean, maybe they'll prove us wrong and go on a run, but they're 11-0, Donnie, against the sub RPI 150 or worse. So sorry. I mean, I just don't give them a lot of respect. And you go back to Purdue, I think that would be the feasible winner of this conference. I don't see any other team that's as good as they are. Isaac Costas had a great year. I mean, he's really bounced back, and I think really saw last year that if he gets a little tougher, a little stronger, he could be really, really good. And he said it in his post-game interview, if you double me, I'm going to find a guard on the perimeter, and they're going to hurt you. So, I mean, you really have trouble, guarding that group. I mean, what do you do? Impressive stuff by this team. I don't think they're going to lose till the end of the year.
Yeah, a lot of big favorites also, Jeff, hitting the deck yesterday and covering, those big lines, the Houston games out there, no late night. What did you have? The Cal game versus USC. A lot of those big ones. Wichita State with a nice win yesterday, 91-70 over Tulsa. And then you had an interesting one, Jeff. I didn't watch the end of this game. Let's talk a little bit about the Clemson-Georgia Tech game. Following it on my phone, Jeff, didn't have any action, but knew that line fell anywhere between 2 to 3, depending where you bet there. And on my phone, on the app, it said, I think Clemson got a rebound, I want to say, with like 5 or 6 seconds to go, and it was 72-70. Were there missed foul shots in that game? What happened at the close of that game? that brought that point spread into play.
Yeah, if you had 2.5 or 3, which is the number, I don't think it ever hit 2. So I mean, maybe at one point, but yeah, basically it was 72-70. There was an 88% foul shoot on the line for Clemson. It was a 1-and-1. He misses the 1-and-1. So
Boom.
yeah, if you had Clemson last night, that's a tough one. There was a lot of those games this week, Donnie, where you had an 80 plus or better foul shoot on the line. I mean, Kyle Guy missed a couple in that Virginia game. He had a chance to. I mean, he ended up putting it away anyway. But that's been a big problem. Foul shooting's never a guarantee, but when you have an 80% or better guy on the line, he should be making them. Yeah, Clemson backers got hurt last night with that one because you really should have won that game probably by 4 points. And Georgia Tech didn't even end up getting a shot off. I think they came up a little late on their shot there. But one other one, Donnie, Temple University, a big win last night. Again, you got to take care of business in front of you. I thought the under was a play that should have hit. Temple could have missed last night. Those happen. They put up 81. I mean, I can't remember the last time they put up 80 points, frankly. I like to see a blowout win once in a while from Temple because they don't ever have those. So that was pretty refreshing to see them go out and just take care of UConn. UConn's really having some problems right now. They're a bet against team for sure.
Yeah, they came off that win versus SMU or Larry's first game out. We've seen that a lot, Jeff, where they rally around the guy that's down and, some guy steps up and play, but by the second, third, or fourth game, it usually settles back. I had Temple yesterday, first half, -3. I just thought it was a good spot there. Temple had gone through a tough schedule, and everybody in the country, Jeff, what did they see last time out? Cincinnati just blow the doors off that team, and then you see, wait a second, Temple's going to lay, -3 first half, -6 or 6.5 full game. I'm just going to take UConn because they won versus SMU. They can hang around and Temple stinks. Just thought Temple's in a decent spot last night to bet that, which is not really what I look for a lot of the times when betting Temple, because as well as I do, Jeff, we rip Temple all the time and say they stink, but sometimes they land in a scenario where you could see them battling, finally getting back home, Sunday night, late night game. We'll see what happens, all that stuff swirling around UConn. I just thought Temple's in a good spot and didn't even have to sweat that much. I know UConn had a lead, maybe around the 10-minute mark, and after that it was all Temple to close out the first half. 38-24, I believe, at the half. And then they just extended it in the second half, which, Jeff, your under was hanging around a while because the game was a blowout. But even in the last 5 minutes, everybody's draining threes and dunks and layups. It's kind of interesting because you got the scenario that you wanted where, you fear the 62-62 game with 4 minutes to go, but you wouldn't even have that. It should have been a slow up tempo. And neither one of these teams usually can shoot worth a damn. Just look at their conference statistics versus each other. I thought you might have been able to pull that rabbit out of the hat late, but they just decided to play a little street ball to end the game.
Yeah, I mean, there were 15 threes made in the game. I mean,
Yeah.
that's unfortunately not a good way to get it under. But what are you gonna do? I mean, it's a long season, man. Um, we move on, Donnie, to tonight's
Mhm.
action.
Yeah.
What do we got on the card?
Let's see. We'll slip that down tonight. 3 games on tap tonight. Decent games tonight. No, not the largest card, which usually, Jeff, I always struggle a little bit when I look at the card on Mondays and Fridays, just trying to find that right spot to try to dip into. But there are some good ones on the card today. Let's go right in order for us. We picked out 3 games. We'll go 7-13, 7-14 on the rotation, Jeff. We're going to head to the Big Ten. It's Northwestern heading to Michigan to play in Chrysler Arena. About 1,100 tickets have been tracked offshore. 63%, Jeff, of those tickets going to back the hometown Wolverines. But however, line opened up at 9 at Chris and Pinnacle, Jeff. Now sitting at 7.5. Over under opened up around 132, and Chris even opened up at a low number early at 128. That number sits at 132 across the board. I know Michigan very popular with the public right now, but giving 7.5 off of a 9 of the opening number. Any cause for alarm here, Jeff?
Yeah, I think for me, I don't know that I want to get involved with laying this kind of number with Michigan. Look, as a small dog, even a small favorite, I'm interested. If this was 2.5, 3, I'd be all over Michigan. But it's not. It's 9. And Michigan lately just hasn't played good enough on the defensive end for me to warrant laying this number. I don't think Northwestern's that bad. I think they're a decent group. They're well coached. What are we getting? What is it line here? 7.5, Donnie? I didn't even look at it.
Yes,
It was
correct.
9.
Yep, 7.5.
7.5. It's still a lot of points. You're getting 3 possessions here. Over the last 5 games, opponents are shooting 49% against Michigan. They don't rebound very well either. They do leave points on a foul line. I've talked about that before. They're just not a team that I really want to lay points with like this. They don't do a lot of things late in games for me to want to back them. Plus, they've struggled defensively. When you're laying 7.5, 8 points, you have to be able to rebound your misses. You have to be able to convert your opportunities at the line. And I just don't see them doing that very often. And look, I think Northwestern's kind of due for a big time win. Can they go into Chrysler Arena and win? I don't know. But I think they're able to hang around here. I don't think they're this bad. I think this line's a little too high. At 4, okay, but 7.5, 8, too many points to me.
I know you like this next game. Betting wise, not so much. I'm not sure. We'll get your opinion on just a moment here. But the Battle of Kansas, Jeff, and I've heard you say sometimes like maybe Kansas Jayhawks not the best team even in the state of Kansas. We head to the Octagon of Doom. Kansas versus Kansas State, Jeff. 1,400 tickets have been tracked offshore. 62%, Jeff, taking that money and leaning towards those Kansas Jayhawks. But here we go again, Jeff. I know you love these spots. This is why we put this game up here. Opens up at -2, Jeff. Heavy action on Kansas. That line's not going anywhere right now. Looks like 2 pretty much across the board outside of Bovada. Over under in this one opened up at 147. That's staying at 147 as well, Jeff. This in your wheelhouse here. Should Kansas be on a little bit of upset alert here?
Oh, they definitely should. I've circled this game for weeks. This is I'll be all over K-State in this game. I got to tell you, Donnie, I think K-State, and I want to shout out to Donnie, a new friend, Blackjack Fletcher, who I did it. He asked me to go do a show with him the other night, and he mentioned to me that he said, "Do you think there's a situation that K-State might actually be the best team in the Big 12?" And I really thought to myself, I said, you know what? I said, I don't think you're that far off of that. I mean, this team's had a great season. They're really good, and they're going to get Camus Stokes back, who is a big part of their defensive footprint. I mean, I like Kansas. I've said that. I think I have a future on them. I think they're really high level, but there's just some things about Kansas that can irritate you at times. For me, I think this is a great spot on a Monday night to back a team that I still think is pretty unknown to a lot of people. I think a lot of people would just see Kansas, and publicly that's what the public does. They see games like this, they just figure, okay, Kansas, they'll get the job done here. K-State, Manhattan, that's a real tough place to play in both sports, Donnie. You go to K-State on a Thursday night in the Big 12 in October, that's a tough place to go play. They do a great job at that university of really giving you a great home atmosphere. Yeah, I'm all over K-State in this game. I'll back them +2.
Last up, Jeff, 9 p.m. tip time. The rotation 721, 722. Nebraska and Wisconsin live from the Kohl Center. 1,400 tickets, Jeff, tracked offshore on this one. 57%. We're actually going to lean on Nebraska heading to Wisconsin here. That line opened up at 2. We got some good movement on this one, Jeff. Chris opens up at 2, now sitting at 3.5. Sportsbook.ag now sitting at -4. The Greek at -4. But let's just call it a 3.5 at this point with some decent line movement for the underdog in the tickets. Wisconsin, not so much for the game itself. 57%, as I said, tickets on Nebraska. 69% of the money on Nebraska, but line playing a role reverse and peeling back, Jeff. Nebraska going to be a valid dog here on the road to give some fight? Or might we see Ethan Happ and the crew maybe rise up once and get a W on their home court here, Jeff?
Yeah, I think this is another interesting game because I think the line really, I wonder where this line will go. Will it, kind of sit at 4 all day and, the whole world's on Nebraska and we'll be on Nebraska here. This is another one of those spots. You have a better team going on the road to take on a team that I think publicly people don't respect. Last thing we saw Wisconsin do was get blown out at East Lansing. The general consensus on Wisconsin is they're not any good. But in general, they have the best player on the court. Uh, I want to see where this line goes. If this stays at 4 or 3.5, I would probably be on Wisconsin here. In these high profile games, you have to be able to see through these things. Uh, does Nebraska look good on paper? Of course they do. But Nebraska is an average team. They're not a great team. Great teams go on the road and a lot of the times don't play well in these kind of spots. At some point, Donnie, Wisconsin, I think this is a little bit more in their wheelhouse as far as similar competition. Look, is Nebraska better than them? Sure they are, but I don't know that they're that much better than Wisconsin. And Wisconsin always has the best player in the court. I don't know. I don't have much opinion on this game. I'll have to see where the line goes here.
No, it should be an interesting one, Jeff. You doing a show tonight to preview the full NCAA card tonight?
Yep. We'll have a show
All right.
tonight a little bit later. Also, want to point out if you're interested, keep in mind this week 2 days of Premier League. One day in the middle of the week, and then at the end of the week on Saturday, we'll have a show today. Premier League punters will go through every game. But yes, college hoops, we'll have a show later today going through all the games. Donnie, we moved to Super Bowl. Donnie, what number Super Bowl is this, by the way?
You know what, Jeff? I'm so glad you just said that. Again, as an Eagle fan, and we are in the Super Bowl, I didn't even think about this until about 30 seconds before. I'm reading the same thing you
52.
did. I made the headline there, and I look at it, I'm like, I don't even know what number it is. And what is why do we have the Roman numerals in the NFL where nobody knows what the damn game is anyway? Like, was it cool like back in the day where it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and we all knew like what the numbers were? But when there gets to a point where nobody knows what the number is until you say it, what's the point of it?
I'll be honest, I don't even know what 2 is in Roman numerals, so I guess it's
What,
two
dude?
lines. But
Yeah, like, and you
but
know how you know that? The only way I know that is like Rocky 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Like they did
oh,
it, so
true.
at least I get that. But Super Bowl, I have no idea.
At Super Bowl 52. Donnie, before we get into the Super Bowl, I want to ask you a question here. Danny Sheridan, he's the official handicapper at USA Today. And I bring this up because I heard it on Paul Feinbaum, and I wanted to get your opinion on it. Danny Sheridan basically came up with the hypothetical line that if the Patriots played Alabama, the current Alabama team, the line would be 44, and Alabama wouldn't score a touchdown. Paul Feinbaum says that he thinks, surprisingly, he thinks Alabama would score and they would score one touchdown. Hypothetically, Donnie, what would you think the score would be in that game?
Yeah, it would be a blowout runaway, but I actually think Alabama would score just by the degree of. I
Okay.
mean, they are athletes out there. It's not like it's just going to be a blanket. Somebody can bust a play, interception, fumble, return. Any one of those things can happen there. But it would be a blowout. 44. But then again, you're also looking, Jeff, at let's just take it and play it in a vacuum, right? Is New England angry because they're playing Alabama and they want to prove a point and run it up? Or are we just going to run like a simulation where it's like an even keel game? Because I guess if you really played the game, wouldn't Alabama or wouldn't the New England Patriots or an NFL team say, look, for the brand purposes, we're not going to get embarrassed here. Let's beat them as bad as we can beat them and run like no huddle the entire game and really get after them, use exotic blitz packages, or are we just going to play it straight up? Because on those two things, if New England wanted to press the issue, they would run Alabama right off the table. But I still do think, Jeff, Alabama would get a touchdown, yes.
The question is, Donnie, though, if the line's 44 and you are given $500 for free and you have to bet on it, what do you take?
I mean, I always like to take it. I'll just take the points, I would say, because again, in that environment, I'm going to play it like Alabama would play, like one of those lower rung schools where you get into the fourth quarter and it might be 41-0, and New England says, let's not get hurt and just run the clock out. That's the scenario I'm going to play on that one.
Yeah, I have a feeling. I'm just saying. I don't think Alabama does score. I mean, that offense isn't that good, really. I mean, it's not like they're like Oklahoma State or anything. I mean, they weren't a
But they
great
do
offense.
have a lot of NFL players that are going to go to the
No, I
league. So
hear
it's
you.
not like you're taking like one of those like, mid-major type school that just has like a cool offense, like, North Dakota State. I mean, they do have guys that are, up the par. I mean, obviously it's NFL's elite level, but at least on that trajectory to be a NFL player.
I would say
Trajectory.
65-7. I think
Yep, they
they
would score,
crush.
Jeff. They would score.
There you go. Um, Donnie, we also talk about, it's just a long week. I mean, it seems like forever since the NFC and AFC championship. You still got another, basically 6 days or so. Um, if you're and obviously we've never been a Super Bowl player, we don't know what they do, but I mean, what are you doing this week? I mean, how do you? Because that's obviously a big advantage for New England. They have the ability to. They've been there before. They know how it works. I think the only players that the Eagles have that have been there would be Blunt and Chris
Chris Long.
Long and maybe a couple
Smith.
others. But yeah, how do you handle that, Donnie?
No, I mean, the Patriots do have quite an advantage on that, Jeff, from a coaching staff to a player staff to, I even heard yesterday when they were saying like Troy Aikman, was talking about his first Super Bowl where he was fine all week. And then the minute he was about to get introduced into the Rose Bowl as the starting quarterback, like all hell broke loose and he felt like throwing up and had butterflies in his stomach. So, I mean, I don't think Tom Brady is going to wake up, Super Bowl Sunday morning and be like, damn it, I've never been more nervous in my life. Where you never know. I mean, Nick Foles, an even keel guys you can get looking like Napoleon Dynamite up there, Jeff. You don't know how you react until you're in that situation and you're taking a snap and it hits you. Like, I am in the Super Bowl, the biggest game on the planet. I better play well. So the Patriots do have quite an advantage on that in time, scheme, how to use it, get through it. Doug Peterson's making phone calls, Jeff, this week saying, or before that saying, you know what, how did you take it when you won? Like, what did you do? How did you keep your guys, mentally ready for the game, but don't overwork them? Because the one we always talk about here, Jeff, in Philadelphia, go back to 1980. Oakland Raiders versus the Philadelphia Eagles in New Orleans. The Raiders stayed out all night long, didn't get any sleep, didn't pay attention to anything NFL-wise, drank beers, got into fights, chased women, and beat the Philadelphia Eagles, who Dick Vermeil had them under lock and key and had like a curfew at 6 p.m. at night and didn't let them go out. So there's that fine line on what you want to let your guys get away with, and I'm sure the Patriots know what that is.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Good insight, Donnie. I got to ask you, this is actually a pretty good question here, and I want to see what you think. It's a prop bet, and I got to be honest, I don't see how this doesn't hit. It's one of those commercial props where if the commercial hits first, I'm not going to say the commercial just because I think it's fucking stupid.
I
You
know
know
where
what
you're
commercial
going.
I'm talking about? The Bud
Yes.
Light commercial. You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
Yep. Yeah.
Will that commercial play basically before a team scores a touchdown? I mean, I have to think. I mean, with the way that commercial is taken off,
Absolutely.
how does that not win?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's only minus
Absolutely.
150. I might bet a
And you're
lot on
talking
that.
about
I mean, how,
two teams with, again, the NFL usually in the Super Bowl, Jeff, you feel each other out, first drive or two or three. And what does the Super Bowl do more than any other game during the year, more
go
than
to
any playoff
commercial.
game or regular season game? You're in exactly. A wave
Yeah.
of commercials going to hit. And those most expensive and best ones where most eyes are on the game, Jeff, the start of the game. You're going to put your best commercials right there. 100% I agree with you.
I don't know how that one doesn't hit. I mean, I might have to bet that one. It's only minus 150, not too bad.
No,
You gotta,
great one.
you might have to lay in props. Sometimes you got to lay a little bit to make some money, and I think this one might be one that I think you got to get involved with. Donnie, we'll end the show on this.
Mhm.
I really like this little feud that has ensued between Russell Westbrook and Joel Embiid.
So
It's
well.
been really fun to watch. I think Russell's had the last word, but Joel Embiid, man, he's a great troll, isn't he? Did you
He's
see
a
that
great troll.
Instagram
He's
post he
great.
put up?
Yeah, he's great for the
That was
NBA. He's
hilarious.
great for because the best part about Joel Embiid is like he plays that role so well. And again, we're from Philadelphia. We love Joel Embiid regardless. But the aura that he gives off around the league is it's like that harmless 16-year-old fun where everybody gets to laugh at. Where if you're another NBA player, you might be hated for it. But he trolls everybody, every on court. DeMarcus, it doesn't even matter who it is. Big bad guy in the NBA, clown in the NBA. He does it all the same, and it comes off really well each and every time to me.
Yeah, I actually like it. I think it's funny. I think he's just kind of trying to have fun with everything and
Yep.
enjoy himself. But he just hasn't gotten the last laugh, unfortunately. Everyone have a great day. Hope you enjoy your Monday. A lot going on at SBR. Make sure you subscribe and like the shows. I'll be back later with the Premier League Punter Show. We'll go over each Premier League game this week. Donnie and I will be back tomorrow at 10 o'clock Eastern. Make sure you join us for that, 10 a.m. on SBR. It's the right side of campus. Everyone have a great day. Bye-bye.